Neil deGrasse Tyson got into a argument almost, I would say, with this guy Patrick Bet David, I guess, on his podcast, the PBD. So PBD Patrick is anti-vax, and Neil deGrasse Tyson is a scientist, so he of course is goes with the facts, pro-vax. It rhymes a little bit. Anyway, I thought this was kind of interesting. I've heard little snippets of it. I didn't hear the whole thing, but let's get it started.
What have we learned now?
What do you mean testing it on America? There were tests before it was released.
9 months is not a long time to test.
No, but it was tested.
Yeah, but 9 months. The average is 30. The average is 5 to 10 years. I mean, 9 months is not enough.
Okay, so you have to say
test.
No. You have to ask. Hold on. It was tested in trials. Okay. By the way, I'm not claiming to be the expert on all this. I read all the same things you have, but I'm a scientist, so I read it as a scientist. Okay. There were trials. That's what the point of phase 1, 2, 3 trials are all about. They are tested enough to get data on how to then advise the larger population. Yes, it was tested. For you to say it wasn't tested is a gap between your awareness and understanding how things work and what actually happened. It was tested. If you want it to be tested on millions of people instead of thousands, you can put in for that. You can say, I don't want this unless it's millions.
So, yeah. Yeah, I guess he was trying to go with the idea that the vaccines weren't tested at all and that they were just kind of given to the people. But they were tested 9 months, and which isn't a lot, compared to other vaccines. But how much time did we really have after COVID hit? How much time did we have with the common cold before a vaccine was made? What about polio? These are questions that I have and answers that I don't have. So maybe I should look it up. Researchers began working on the vaccine in the 1930s, but the attempts were unsuccessful. An effective vaccine didn't come around until 1953. So about 20 years it took for the polio vaccine. What is it? Common cold? Flu shot. Early attempts during the 1930. Wow, 20 years again. So, all right, for just polio and the flu, it was 20 years. Until when the influenza. 20 years when the virus was identified, and they could actually start to develop the process. But they knew about it since what, 1892. Oh, it's 100 years before I was born. This used to be what the flu did to us. All these people are in bed because of the flu. H1N1. This dude looks like he's studying real hard. Yeah, this science, it took a long time to make vaccines back in the day. So this COVID vaccine happened really fast. I mean, thankfully.
That's okay.
Totally fine with me.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
But so based on that, do you say, let's keep testing it while the virus keeps spreading? Okay, right. So this is the contest between the information you have available to you at that moment and what's going on outside the lab. People are dying. Hospitals are becoming overloaded. So do you say we have good data on the 1,000? It's not yet at 1 million in case you wanted 1 million. Are you going to say, let's still do it on let's wait another 6 months so we get another 1 million in here? Will you do that as a public health professional?
No, I would have said allow the individual to still have a choice that's okay with 1,000 instead of a few million. Leave the person have the choice. Not force him to take it or else you're going to get out of the Marines, and you've been doing this for 14 years. Not force him to take it or else you have to quit your job as a nurse.
There's a public health
force versus
there's a
choice.
There's a public health contract.
Exactly. You're not taking the vaccine for you. You're taking it for the people that you deal with. Like, you walk around, you walk into fucking Starbucks to get your latte. Everybody you passed by is thanking you because you took the fucking vaccine. Although they're not thanking you by telling you, they're thanking you by living, right?
That you have signed implicitly as a citizen of a country where in part we depend on each other for health, our wealth, our security, and the like. And that contract is,
exactly,
in the best scientific evidence available at the time, if you do not get vaccinated, you will put other people in this organization at risk, and that organization does not want to take that risk. So you do not have this job anymore if you decline it. So with any public health decision, there has to be a consequence to you not participating in that social contract. Is it your job? In some cases it was. But no, we're not going to have the army bust into your home and force a needle into your shoulder.
Yep.
That's not going to happen.
We pretty much did that.
Well, only put your job at risk, yes.
Yeah, 67% of Americans took the COVID. That's force. That's not a choice. That's a lot of force and coercing and pushing going on. But you can't go to the school unless you're vaccinated against mumps. I think that's bullshit. If
that's a different country.
Yeah, but
okay, would you want a country?
No, America is supposed to be the one that offers the most freedom. That's what America is supposed to be.
Yeah, okay, so watch.
So for example, if you use that argument, somebody may say, well, freedom of choice, I want to choose what I want to do with the body. You're right.
What body?
If you want to get an abortion, it's your choice.
Your own body. Your own body.
If you want to get an abortion, get an abortion. If I want to get the vaccine, I get to choose. So you can't force. If I can't force you to get an abortion, you shouldn't be able to force me to get.
Because it's not about you. It's about people you interact with, and that's the social contract of public health.
We don't even know.
All right, let me reframe this shit. All right, so this dude over here, asshole McGee, I guess, is basically saying, like, why should the vaccine be forced upon you? And it's like, well, it's not. And Neil deGrasse Tyson is actually saying the vaccine's not forced upon you. If you want to continue to work where you work, then you have to be vaccinated.
Not a long time to test.
No, but it was tested.
Yeah, but Naima, the average is 30.
Damn it, I really started this from like the beginning. We were only 4 minutes in though.
All these review boards and all these agencies and the CDC
saying only one type of scientists are right.
No, we're saying that the system in place.
The 16,000 that signed up.
No. The system in place, there has to be a consequence to you not participating in that social contract.
Here we go.
Is it your job? In some cases it was. But no, we're not going to have the army bust into your home and force a needle into your shoulder.
Chicken and waffles is fire.
That's not going to happen.
We pretty much did that.
Well, only put your job at risk, yes.
Yeah, 67% of Americans took the COVID. That's force. That's not a choice. That's a lot of force and coercing and.
I feel like a lot of the coercion to get the vaccine was seeing the dead people, right? Like, is that just me? If I saw somebody like healthier than me die of COVID, I'd be like, oh, well, fuck. Maybe I should take this seriously like I did. I'm not going to sit here hella fat, unhealthy, eating McDonald's as much as I do, and then see a fucking healthy college athlete get COVID and die, and sit here and think, you know what, bruh, I might be good. You know, all I got to do is take some fucking ivermectin. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, you're just lucky. Like, that's all it is. You didn't get a bad enough strain. Like, I'm sure there's a bad enough strain that would have put you on your ass. Excuse me. That would have put you on your ass, but you didn't get that. So you were lucky. It's like, imagine if somebody shoots at you, you get grazed, and you're like, bullets don't work. I don't know why all these people are dying of bullets. I got shot. I got shot in the arm multiple times, and I'm fine. It's like, bro, you were grazed. You didn't get shot. All right? Bullets work. COVID's real. The vaccine saved millions of people. I don't know what to tell you. All I can do is give you science, but you say that's bullshit, and I don't know what to do other than give you science. It's like I can tell you 1 + 1 = 2, but then you're like, well, what is plus? What is 2? It's like I don't even know what kind of ground I can cover at this point.
Pushing going on, but
that's the you can't go to the school unless you're vaccinated against mumps.
I think that's bullshit.
That's a different country.
Yeah, but
okay, would you want a country?
No, America is supposed to be the one that offers the most freedom. That's what America is supposed to be.
Yeah, okay, so watch.
So for example, if you use that argument, somebody may say, well, freedom of choice. I want to choose what I want to do with the body. You're right.
What body?
If you want to get an abortion, it's your choice.
Your own body.
If you want to get an abortion, get an abortion. If I want to get the vaccine,
yeah, bro, that's not really an example you can use, considering the right to get an abortion was taken away in a lot of different places. I don't know all the different states off the top of my head, but you have to travel to get an abortion now. It's rough, man. They are really, and the whole abortion thing is really just the right to control a woman's body, which I don't know why men just want the fucking ability to do. It's kind of weird.
I get to choose, so you can't force. If I can't force you to get an abortion, you shouldn't be able to force me to get.
Because it's not about you; it's about people you interact with, and that's the social contract of public health.
We don't even know if the vaccine worked or not at the time.
Yes, that's what the trials are, dude. That's why these trials. Are you missing data out there?
But let me ask you a question: are we saying?
Oh my God, Neil! Look, he doesn't understand. He just doesn't understand. They're not gonna listen. Look, do you see how deep Neil is trying to explain this to him, and he's just looking at him like it's almost like stone face and jester. It's like, no, I'm not going to care. No matter what you say, I'm going to stay hard in my beliefs that this is all bullshit. I never needed a vaccine. It's like, are you fucking... I don't know, man.
That's why these trials... Are you missing data out there?
But let me ask you a question. Are we saying only one type of scientists are right?
No, we're saying that the system in place...
The 16,000 that signed that...
No. The system in place to test vaccines... Yeah. There's an entire system that's in place that with review boards and all of it.
And the average
that's in place. Now you can say what you can say is, I have a better idea than all these review boards and all these agencies and the CDC. I have a better idea. Here's what you should do, and that would have made everything better. Okay, you can put forth that idea, but what I'm saying is, in a case where you can contaminate someone else, it's not about you. It's about the collective health.
You're assuming because somebody can take the vaccine, won't get COVID, which, by the way, I don't need to play the clips for you to see it, where everybody said, hey, if you get it, you're not going to get, if you take the vaccine, you're not going to get a Rachel Maddow, Joe Biden. I can give you Fauci. I can give you, and you've seen these clips before. It's not like you've never seen it before.
Yeah, what happened
They were wrong.
Hold on. So.
Come on, Neil. Shit on them.
The strain evolved, okay, so that the vaccine that prevented you from catching COVID was tuned to the variant of COVID at the time the vaccine was designed, okay? Over time, there were variants that arose. The vaccine provided partial protection against the new variants, enough to keep you from dying statistically, and to basically keep you out of the hospital, allowing other people with more severe problems to get the hospital attention they required. And so then they would develop
Here's what I've heard. The vaccine is like it's like an airbag, right? Like, if you if you get into a car crash, your airbag deploys, right? Because you need it. It's not like, but like if you get into a car crash, your airbag deploys and you die. It's not like, oh, well, airbags are pointless. It's like there, to help. But I don't think it's 100%. I don't think any vaccine is.
With vaccine hasn't been tested for it. It was something we just came out. But let me.
I don't know what point you're making, other than it was tested. You might
9 months is not enough.
You might prefer. No, it's not a matter of time. It's a matter of how many. Yes, time matters, but the number of people is paramount. That's the most important thing. Okay, you don't test it on 10 people. You test it on as many people as you can.
Sure.
I think it was thousands, but
is it fair to say that some of the side effects we may not know for 5, 10, 15, 20 years? You can't, like, they can't say, we know 100% the side effects 10 years from now. How are you going to know that?
Yeah, okay. So, no, of course, we can't know
So
that.
then all I'm saying is...
Watch. We can't know that.
Okay.
But watch.
Yeah.
So I have a whole chapter called Risk and Reward in the book, which tries to sensitize people to when they make a decision, what kind of risk are they absorbing relative to what they're rejecting, okay? And we're not very good at that, at probability and statistics or analyzing it. That's why TV commercials trying to sell you a product don't just show you data. They show a person speaking of the effectiveness of the product. A single person. I lost 50 pounds. The testimony of an individual should be irrelevant to you relative to the entire set of people who have done it. And you want to look at those statistics, but we're not good at that. And advertisers know that. So they show the testimony of an individual, which is hugely potent in a civilization where we don't think statistically, we think about eyewitness testimony on something. And somehow that is raised to a very high level of influence on our decisions. What I'm saying is, you're not your decision point is not, I'm not going to take the virus because 5 years, 10 years, I don't know what effect it's going to have.
Some may, though. Some may not be comfortable with
Let me
that.
finish the sentence. Okay?
He's not even listening. He just wants to get a point to talk. Because, again, Neil deGrasse Tyson is trying to change this guy's mind. This guy is trying to make Neil deGrasse Tyson look stupid so that we can agree with him. That's what he's trying to do. He's speaking to the audience. Neil deGrasse Tyson is speaking to him. But I mean, I guess Neil deGrasse Tyson kind of knows what's up too and is speaking to the audience a bit. But like, for the most part, that seems to be the case, right? This guy's just trying to get his talking points across. Neil deGrasse Tyson is like literally saying shit that if you're thinking about it objectively, you can't disagree with. I don't know.
You can say, I don't want to take the virus because 5 or 10 years from now, there could be a side effect that we don't see.
Which is a possibility.
Hold on. I'm trying to make a statistical point here, okay? If you say, I don't want to take the virus because it hasn't been tested for 5 years and there could be some long-term side effect that worries me, okay? In that same moment, there's the risk factor of you getting COVID.
Sure.
Okay? Unvaccinated. At one point, 87% of everyone dying in the hospital of COVID was unvaccinated. Okay. So your risk choice is, I'm not going to take it because maybe somewhere down the line something will happen and we don't know what that is, or I will risk getting COVID, and if I get COVID, depending on your age and other things, there's a 3% chance of me dying in the hospital. That's your choice. Yes. Yes. But what I see people doing is they focus on one thing, and that's the foundation of their decision, rather than the other chance. And what happens if you get COVID? Now you get long COVID. Now you can have a taste buds for 2 years or whatever it is for long COVID.
Yeah.
You're on a ventilator in the hospital.
I'm still convinced that, like, the string of fucking YouTubers that have been doing, like, the spicy challenges all day long are just people with long COVID who got COVID, lost their taste buds, and are just like, what could I do with this? And they just started fucking crunching on Takis and fucking jalapenos and shit. That's always been my long-standing theory.
Possibly dying? Like, what? Where is the... So I looked every day, once a week, I looked at the statistics. How many people are getting COVID? What's the rate? What's the rate of hospitalization? What's the rate of deaths? Where is it by state?
I had to look at it. My board forced me to look. We're in the business that we have to look at.
They should,
yeah, of course.
Because it's data.
Yeah, I agree.
On risk factors.
The risk of people's lives,
okay,
for sure.
So nothing is ever zero risk. Yeah, there's a risk that you'll grow a third arm in 10 years because the virus mutates within you.
Should the individual not have the right to say, I don't want to take it because that...
You don't have the right to contaminate someone else. So if you don't want to get shot...
Who says that, though? But who says that?
It's a social contract in a modern civilization.
I don't have
public health.
I don't have the right to contaminate someone else. What do you mean? Like, so what do I do? Stay home all day?
Yeah, or go to the beach. Yeah.
I love that. Who says that? Who says I can't contaminate somebody else? Why are you arguing with that fact? Do you see what you're arguing with, right? Why why do I have to wear underwear or when I walk around Walmart? It's like, what? I mean, I guess you don't have to, but you definitely have to wear pants. It's like, what? What are you talking about? Like, why do you have to fucking, come on.
You stay away from other old people who
but
you stay away from people who are immune compromised.
So Neil, so for me, I'm asking you because I want to know how you process this as a guy that's well-read, smart.
I process the data, and the data.
We didn't have enough data, though.
No,
we didn't have enough data
at any given moment.
Yeah,
there's data for you to make a decision at any given moment.
Sure,
the data is constantly getting better and better.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. At any given moment, you say to yourself, "Okay, what happens to me if I get COVID? There's a chance I'll get long COVID. I'm certainly out for at least a week, and there's a chance I'll be hospitalized, and there's a chance I'll die."
Mm-hmm.
I take the vaccine. It mitigates this, basically entirely removing the chance that I'm going to die, essentially, at my age group, and I will accept the risk that in 5 years I'll grow a third arm. That's the kind of decision-making that I make. Now, that's just for me, but on top of that, if my workplace says, we don't want you coming in unless you are vaccinated and you might lose your job, I would say, why? Oh, because you could contaminate someone else, introducing a problem in their own health profile. That's the public contract. That's why workers wash their hands in the restaurant bathrooms by law. Yes, they're required to do so because you don't want poop germs in your dinner that they're preparing. Because our evidence showed that that's one of the greatest places you can spread disease is in a restaurant with a central kitchen. So this is the now you want a world where you can do whatever you want.
God damn, dropping so many facts on his ass.
And have it influence other people.
True.
I'm not saying that.
I wouldn't know.
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is the following. Like, okay, for example, statistics. Have you seen the documentary Died Suddenly? Have you looked at it?
No, I haven't.
Okay. It's an interesting one. It's on I don't know where it's at. You can find it somewhere online. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's got 30 million views. I think it's worth watching. Actually would be curious to know what you say about it once you watch it.
Mm-hmm.
The statistic then showed like pre-COVID, 29 people.
I love how when you come at assholes like this with facts and data, I'm not a scientist, but from an actual scientist, he gives you back a movie. Have you seen the movie? Like, bro, what are you fucking? Like, yeah, I think you should really watch that movie because it'll really. Basically, you're just trying to sell that movie to us. You really don't care if he's gonna fucking watch it. You're just selling it to us, okay? Like, this dude is such a piece of shit. Oh my god, dude, it's like they just bring you YouTube videos and Joe Rogan podcasts and all that shit instead of actual fucking like facts and data. That's what I go by.
Athletes in Europe died suddenly from heart failure, pre-COVID, pre-taking the mRNA vaccine. Okay, post-taking the mRNA vaccine last year, 1,500 people suddenly had heart failures in Europe and 2/3 died. That's documented. That's not like it's a hypothetical, right? Okay, you read statistics like that, then one has the right to say.
Well, just to be
sure.
Careful. Be careful how you speak information. So you are describing two events. Okay, you're describing events that had a temporal relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before you've established a causal relationship. Just be clear that's
100%. I'm not doing that. All I'm doing is the following. Here's all I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody all of a sudden starts having a breakout, okay,
a breakout of what?
Meaning their skin starts breaking out. You're 26 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You never had a breakout. All of a sudden you start breaking out. And the doctor says, listen, man, what have you been doing differently? Well, listen, for the first time in my life, 6 weeks ago, I started doing DECA, steroids. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, that's why it implicates it, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Hey, if somebody all of a sudden, is having a hard time sleeping at night, I'm having a very hard time. So let's watch your diet. Well, then they notice at 10:30 at night, you're having iced tea and, lemonade and you added with this, well, listen, if we've been doing it for 6 weeks, that's why you have an hard time. Just drop that. Don't drink that after 2 o'clock. I'm just making, saying, but all I'm saying is, what I want to know is I want to put everything on the table versus saying, no, there's one thing we can't put on the table, and that's the cause of the vaccine. There is no way there could be any negative impact because of the vaccine. That's ludicrous.
No one has ever said that ever about any vaccine.
If you say that, then the question then becomes back for you to say, when COVID first got started, I invited so many doctors to come in to talk about COVID. And then I invited people from both sides. I want both sides. I invited people from both sides. You know which side would never come? The side that was for vaccine would never, ever come because...
Why? Because you can talk better than them? And you would probably walk out. Just because they're a doctor doesn't mean they can talk well. The people who were against vaccines, you were probably sucking their dick all day long while they were on your fucking show. But the people who were for vaccines, you would push back on, and probably unfairly. And again, not everybody can talk as well as Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's been doing this for 30 plus years. Okay, he's been, the head of however many boards. Not everybody can talk as well as him. You were trying to steamroll his ass, and you realize you're dealing with a little bit bigger of a train than you thought you were, little buddy. So, you're sitting here like these other doctors didn't come out. Well, of course. You would steamroll over some know-nothing doctor. You would take that, show it to your fucking right-wing friends, put it up on YouTube, and everybody would jack off and point to it and say, look, see, vaccines were fake. You just shitted all over a doctor who was for vaccines. No. People are smart enough to realize what you were trying to do and probably decided not to do it. That's all I'm saying.
They thought they were above the average person, that they know and the rest of us are dumb. So because of that, they're not willing to come and sit down with scientists. I think that's arrogant. So to me, when I ask you scientific debate, I'm not telling you I'm a scientist. Hey, let me debate with you because I'm smarter than you. I'm not a scientist. I'm a business guy.
Let's do a hypothetical scenario. Hypothetics are, let's assume an actual cause and effect has been established in this case.
Sure.
Which does not have to see the film to know. I don't know that it's a cause and effect other than a coincidence in time relative to other things that people might have been doing. By the way, alcohol consumption went up during COVID significantly. Okay? And alcohol is implicated in heart disease. So
depression, anxiety, people staying at home,
kids, opioid.
Really? Depression, anxiety, you're comparing that to... Okay. All right, bro. Again, you guys have nothing to stand on. Just almost nothing.
Addicts, addiction.
Okay.
So the staying at home wasn't the best decision either.
What I'm saying is, if after the vaccine is available, more people die of heart failure over a time where alcohol consumption went up, as did depression.
That could be an option.
That's right.
That's a very good
point. That's all I'm saying here. But let's give it to you that the vaccine caused this. Let's just say that. Okay?
Yeah.
And add it all up, and you got, what was it, 1,500 post-vaccine?
29 to 1,500.
29 deaths.
29 sports deaths to 1,500.
Thousands of deaths, let's say. Okay? Let's say 10,000 even. Let's just do that. Okay.
29
all right.
to 1,500.
You can estimate how many deaths the vaccine saved during COVID. Okay? Because you can look at the death numbers drop off as people got vaccinated. It's in the tens of millions. Again, you make a decision. Do I not want to die from COVID at this rate that occurred in this world? Or do I not want to die from this complication from the vaccine itself, the heart failure? So,
how can you sit there with a straight face? 29. 50, you said it was like 1,500? 29 to 1,500. 29? He had to like double verify, like, so you're saying it could be as low as just 29 people. Okay. He said, all right, let me give him some wiggle room to make the math easier for me, because math that low is ridiculous. Like fucking 1,500 compared to 10 million? All right. Cool.
Make your decision. And so you'll say, I might be in that 1,500, so I'm not going to think. Then you get COVID and die from COVID, right? So you just make the decision.
You know what I would say to that? Well, you know what I would say to that?
What would you say?
Here's what I would say to that. I would say, perfect. Let me take the risk. And thank you for giving it to me that way versus telling me it's one or the other.
These assholes let me take the risk. They take the risk. They get COVID. It fucking mutates. And then now everybody has the risk. And now they're like, see, your vaccines don't work. Well, it's because you assholes didn't get vaccinated, got COVID. It became something else. And, well, now we need to get booster shots now. Fuck your boosters. Your first shot didn't even work. It's like, all right. Well, I guess we're all going to hell in a handbasket. Because this is what we're dealing with now. It literally has nothing to do with, like, facts or logic. It's just fucking, like, left versus right. Me versus you.
Which is how it was
as you are
presented.
informed fully about what the risks are. But like I said, as a species, we're not very good at thinking statistically about it. We're just not. And when we want to, we believe we're going to be the exception. And look at the people betting on lotteries. You know, they think they're going to win.
But for me, like, you know, when the moment they started saying you have to put on cigarettes, the risk of heart failure, cancer, this, that. And if you still want to smoke cigarettes, guess what? You got a risk if you smoke cigarettes. You may get lung cancer, right? Hey, if you eat this, if you do this, if you do that.
Yeah, but we've denied your admission to the bar. There's a cost to that because it's a public health issue. And so, right, you are free to smoke the cigarette, but not in my establishment, by law.
Not in your establishment.
By law.
By law.
Correct.
No problem.
Right.
Totally fine.
But that's an example.
But
of
if you want to smoke cigarettes
contract.
outside,
Neil,
you can.
then let me,
and you can live on the beach unvaccinated, that's fine.
Neil, let me ask you this. So what state would you say was the most responsible during COVID?
State? I don't know. I never looked.
So if you're a stats guy. I have
no idea.
Okay, I'm a stats guy as well. I like stats, but I'm more financial. I'm not like, you know, but I understand what you're saying.
A lot of stats and finance.
I'm a baseball guy, so I like stats.
Okay.
I'm all about stats. I love baseball. So if we look at the stats, the media made Florida seem the most irresponsible state. That's what the media made it look. Okay?
We're in Florida right now. You guys do have kind of
Here's what he's going to say. He's going to say Florida was the most irresponsible, but they made the most money, and whatever state that was the most responsible lost the most money, and XYZ and blah, blah, blah. Watch. Like, that's exactly where he's going to go.
Bad reputation on a lot.
I wonder if, I mean, I feel like if I could see that, Neil deGrasse can see it. But maybe that's not where he goes. I don't know. We'll see.
A lot of stuff.
Okay, sure. So, and by the way, I've lived in California 24 years, 5 years in Texas, 2 years in Florida. Okay. Just so you know my background.
That's right. Okay.
10 years in Iran, 2 years in Germany. That's kind of my background. A couple years in the military. But if we say, hey, if we look at the data, the most irresponsible state was Florida. You would have heard many times news telling you that. When I go to California and I would say, I'm in Florida, I'm like, oh my God, you're in Florida. Oh my, it's horrible. But you know what I realized? Here's what I realized. If the state of Florida is so bad, why did the NBA during Black Lives Matter host the playoffs in Florida?
In the bubble.
If Florida
I thought they created a bubble for themselves.
But why did they come here? They could have done it in Texas. Texas got plenty of places they could do it in. Why did they do it here?
I don't know.
But the point is, they felt safest.
Wait, I'm not going to use the NBA as a measure of.
I also did.
I was literally going to say that. I'm not going to use where the NBA has their playoffs as like a measure for fucking... That fucking kills me. Like, he's like, why did the NBA have the players? Why did the NBA have the playoffs here if Florida's so unsafe? It's like, what? Did you think that was a slam dunk? He was like, fuck yeah, I just shitted on Neil. Like, get out of here. Oh my God. I love this. This is, oh man. You really, God, if you're debating somebody smarter than you, you have to be able to talk better than them. That's the thing. That's the trade-off. You got to make them look like an idiot because you can talk better than them, not because you're smarter than them. But this guy is smarter than you, and he can talk better than you, and you're not that bright. But the first thing you go to is, why did the NBAs host their playoffs in Florida then? And he just said what everybody was thinking. Like, I'm not going to use the NBA to fucking measure what is safe and what is not by where they fucking put their playoffs. Like, oh my God. Oh, I guess we should just all move to where the next World Cup is going to be, because that's probably the safest place in the world from now on. God, my heart. Oh, that was so great. Come on, Neil.
The
I give
Super
you an
Bowl
idea.
here.
A lot of the Super Bowl was here. I'll give you another one. Pro-vaccine AOC for vacation. She came to Miami. People from New York and California were partying for Miami. During COVID, when everybody was looking for a home during Christmas where to go to, you couldn't go to Colorado. You couldn't go to Lake Tahoe because it sucked. You had all these other choices. Everybody came to Florida.
I'm not going to judge the
statistically, though.
safety of a. I can't use that as a statistics of safety. I can't.
Oh my God.
I don't care who chooses where to vacation.
AOC was here for vacation, bro. What you gonna do? I have plenty of pictures of her on the beach in her bikini. He's like, does she know you have these? Like, oh my God, let me write squits, please.
I care what your death rates are, what your vaccination rates are, what your hospitalization rates are. That would be an objective measure from state to state. What state are you most likely to die in from COVID? That's a statistic I would pay attention to. What state has the least hospital beds to accommodate those who are sick from COVID, even if they're not going to die from COVID? I would want to know that. I'm not going to base a decision on whether the NBA chose to put their bubble in the state.
Well, statistically, New York and California does not look good. Statistically, New York and California, and they're supposed to be the most responsible ones. Those two states didn't look good. All I'm saying is from my...
When you say statistically, you mean fiscally, right? You mean the fiscal statistics of California don't look good. But in terms of lives that are still... I mean, you lose your business or you lose your family. I don't... Like, what do you... do you want to even try to make that choice? Like, you can start another business. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying you can rebuild. Other people have done it. But you can't have another life. You can't have another wife. I mean, you can try to maybe find one, but do you really want to risk that? Other than just, like, shutting down?
I end in a space where I sit there and I learn. I say, oh my gosh, okay, I had no clue about that. That was brilliant. That's interesting. Let me go research. Let me go look at this. I'm a guy that likes debate of experts in two different sides and let them make the argument. And I'm mature enough to know the better salesman doesn't necessarily have the better argument.
Good. But let me just say that there's nothing I've said in the last half hour that is a debating point. All I'm telling you, well, you can debate whether you should still be able to work and put other workers at risk for not having vaccinated.
Man. Oh, it's all good.
You can debate that.
Yeah.
In the context
There's a
of public
15-minute
health,
cooldown if it's a different person.
that's a risk factor that we don't want to introduce to other people because of your decisions. That's a public health issue. It's been going on basically for 100 and something years since, who's the woman who some famous medical case, a person who spread what's it?
Come on.
What is that case?
Recently?
No, 100 years ago.
Oh.
It created a whole wave of sanitation rules and things for public health sake.
I'm not familiar.
But anyway, the point is, I want to make sure you know you can focus on the 1,500 people who died after the vaccine.
Mary Mallon? You're talking about the history of typhoid fever?
Yeah, Typhoid Mary. Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
Typhoid
Thank you.
Mary. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know her last name.
Yeah.
I thought typhoid was her first name.
Typhoid
Mary
Mary.
was her last name. Okay. Wait. So it's simply a matter of, if you're saying you don't want to be in the 2,000, whatever the number is, who died after the vaccine from heart failure at the peak of your physical career, not totally necessarily factoring in all the other abuses that went on over that time that may have contributed to it. Mm-hmm. Instead, you want to take the risk of COVID and not be one of the 20 million people who would have died and didn't, right? So I just want you to have the statistics in front of you. And it seems to me most people would, in most cases, choose the path that reduces their chance of death.
But by the way, I don't disagree.
That's why I'm not debating. I'm just saying. I'm putting it out there.
But this part of what you're saying, I'm 100% with you. But this is.
It's not a matter of being with me. It's just, are you with the decision making of what is a rational statistical analysis?
But this position is not an arrogant position. This position is kind of like when you're sitting there, and you tell the doctor, "So doc, what do I do? Do I get the surgery?" Like, we have one of my good friends right now is getting a brain surgery in the next couple weeks. She's afraid. Now, she believes in God, so faith is kind of calming her down, but she's afraid, okay? The doctor says there's a 10% chance you're not going to make it. Do you want to, for the rest of your life, live having to take that medication with the side effects, or do you want to do the surgery? The individual is making a decision to get the surgery. She knows the chances is what? 10%. You know what I say to that? Hey, at least I know the risk. Versus, no, if you take this, you won't get anything. Propaganda, selling me this. Like, what's the three things that you say? There's three different types of.
It's just bad faith. There's no point in arguing, right? Like, any point that I have, if you provide evidence to the opposite that supports your claim, then I have to fucking look at it as a fucking just a human being, right? If you show me that the shit that I'm saying is wrong, like okay, I remember I was like, when I first started streaming, I was super in my feelings about, like, I was like, no, man, this is bullshit. All it is hot female streamers that are getting all the views. And then my buddy was like, you sure about that? This was Yumo, by the way. I still fucking love that guy. Shout out to him. He's my boy. Or, no, they're my boy. Excuse me. They're my boy. Anyway, Yumo was like, you sure about that? And I'm like, I mean, yeah. It's like, is it just because the female streamers have more viewers than you, or is it all female? Threw facts at me that were like, oh, so it's mostly the male streamers that are getting all the views because it's mostly males that are streaming. And I'm like, well, maybe is it out of the small streamers, it's more female streamers that are getting. When it comes to small streamers, it's more 50-50. All right, fuck it, I'm wrong. Straight up wrong. Wrong and a little bit sexist. And I was like, all right, yeah, wrong. I'm an asshole. Facts changed my mind. I'm an asshole. Wrong. I'm usually an asshole. It's okay. Happens a lot. Facts changed my mind, right? But, like, if I was just like, fuck that. Where's that study come from, huh? Yeah, no, they're wrong. I don't care where. They're wrong, okay? I know what I see, okay? And what I see is, it's like, it's like, man, nah, exactly. It's you're willfully ignorant at that point. You don't want to hear facts because you think you know better. And then at that point, you can pretty much go fuck yourself.
Truth, right? It's objective truth, personal truth,
and political truth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the one I have a
truth.
problem with. And I agree with you.
Should we all?
And that's the part I have a problem with. I'm personal truth, let's debate, have fun with it. Great, let the audience.
Yeah. Positive truth.
Yeah.
You want to debate personal truth.
Exactly, that's cool.
Okay? Kirk or Picard, just
yes.
whatever.
Yes.
But is that a Star Trek reference?
Dude, who let him in?
I'm sorry.
Who let him in?
They've been asking that question for years.
The political truth, I think, is what brought a lot of division in households and companies, different places.
Of course
I think that's what happened the last 2.5 years, specifically with that. And you know this, like, you took it, you didn't take it, you're part of a political party. Like, you may be positioning me right
statistically,
now.
that was a correct statement.
Yeah, statistically it was. But what was interesting is that people with no college degrees took the vaccine less than those with bachelor's degrees, but then MBA was the least, which is kind of funny. MBA people took the least amount of vaccine percent.
Sociological.
Yeah, interesting sociology statistics.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click.
Yeah, trust me, I'm not gonna watch you fuck around anymore. Okay, yeah, no, I like that. I enjoyed that.